This is a message from your guides reading for Human Angel. And once again, I have my lapis lazuli here only. So I've kind of already told you things about what this is. Mental clarity, it's third eye, it's throat chakra, willpower, creativity, intuition, and mental focus, as I already mentioned, are some of the main things that this crystal and those chakras kind of help with. So I'm going to go ahead and surround us in some protective space for the reading. Okay, I've got some kind of cord coming as I'm coming down the right arm. This feels like it's going to some kind of thought form. This is going back to a past life. And I get the feeling that the majority of your thought forms have to do with past lifetimes. They didn't really come to you in this lifetime, like the large majority of them. This also means that they're all kind of intense and kind of strong as well. Not strong as in they're actually powerful by any means, but in other words, just they come across in kind of an intense way because they've just gained more energy over a longer period of time. So you've just had them for longer. They've had a little more time to develop and also to attach to you as well. So this is really good that you're becoming aware of them now. But you have had these for a long time. So that's, just keep that in mind, that you have had them for a long time. So your guides are saying that you're going now at a really good pace. It might not always seem that way, but you have had these for a really long time. So the pace that you're going is actually really good. These are all associated with fears. They all have to do with fears because of ways that you were treated before, or things that happened before, and then how you reacted to those things, or even not even always your own reaction, but just almost like one event can lead to another event, almost in response to something that occurred. So it can be your response, it can be just kind of what happens in response around you. And so because of that, you've ended up with these thought forms. But they're, and it's not one thing, it's like, it's multiple past lives. It feels like many past lives. I keep getting that word. So it's from many different past lives. It's not from one thing. But it's like they're all similar that these came from. There are similar... It's not that all of these lifetimes had a similar theme. Some of them I feel like did. But then others, it's like you just have a certain event that took place in the lifetime. Even if the lifetime wasn't following necessarily that theme, you just maybe have one or two kind of events that can kind of trigger something that reminds you of that same kind of occurrence or theme. And you end up with more added energy, and you can end up creating new thought forms. But then there's also again, this idea coming through from your guides that you're also just kind of adept at creating these thought forms just because of the gifts that you have. You're just able to create them faster, which can be a detriment or it can be helpful. It just depends on the way that it's used. The problem is when you're doing it so unconsciously, it's like you don't really realize what you're doing, and everybody here on Earth is really creating in that way at this point, the majority of the time. Because it's like we're just not so advanced yet to be so in tune with and aware of what we're creating on all of these deeper levels of ourselves. And that's almost part of the journey here, to go into that and discover that and find that out. Oh, I just realized I didn't finish surrounding you in the light. They're reminding me. Okay, so that was on the right arm. There's one on the left arm, though, that's also coming up that they're pointing out. This one feels like it goes to a person, though. It doesn't feel like it's going to a thought form. This feels like a person in the current lifetime. I don't know why they're not specifically saying who that is going to. But it's there on your left side. The left side tends to have to do with, it's the feminine side, so it tends to have to do with female people. Not always, but a lot of the time. Or a lot of times we even say the left side is the mother's side, the right side is the father's side. But they're not really specifically saying exactly who this is to. I feel like part of the reason that you have these reactions that you do with these thought forms, that they're able to send you so many emotions, also has to do sometimes with where they're attached. Like, for instance, if they're attached to almost like an emotional center, or like a chakra, but one that more deals with emotions and processes those, then it would be easier for you to almost pick up on those emotions in the way that they want, or in the way that they're attempting to send them. Because there's a lot of these going into the back, and especially the lower back, this does tend to, it's like a place where they can tend to attach in like an emotional way, or an emotionally charged way. But even in other places where a thought form might be attached, even if it's some other random place, like I'm getting your arm, right? But In that case, it has to do with, again, the lifetime that it goes back to and all these charged emotions from that lifetime. But all of these have to do with fear. All of them do. Even if they're causing other emotions, they're all going back to some kind of fear, fear of others, or even of yourself, fear of what you display, how others are going to react to you. Feels like even fear, like almost of your own power. And fear of how others are going to perceive you. So every single one of these is going back to a fear. It doesn't matter if it's coming to you with an angry emotion or it's coming to you with a sad emotion or even like almost like you could say almost like a false positive emotion in a sense that's really more just going back to anxiety or something, or it's posing as something like happy or something, but you end up realizing that you're not really feeling that way. It's more like an anxiety. All of these things are going back to fears. And it has especially to do with how you're perceived by others. So that's something to really think about, and to kind of observe with yourself and think about how you can combat that kind of thing specifically. That has to do with others and how they're going to perceive you and how they're going to react to you, how they'll respond if you behave in certain ways. But one thing your guides is saying is that this job that you have now, that you're asking about again, it was really attracted out of that stuff, out of this same fear of how others are going to perceive you and feeling like you can't really be in your power. And like if you are, almost like it's going to be taken. If you are, it's going to be taken away from you. Yeah, your guides are kind of saying that's it. That definitely has something to really do with the theme there, like power that is taken away, or an ability that can't manifest, or that's taken away, or again something that can't manifest, a potential that can't come through, or something that is there and it's taken. But the only reason that there would be a potential there that can't come through is because of this fear of if it does, it's taken. If I do get what I want, it's taken away. If I am happy, I'm going to end up not happy. If I am happy, I'm going to end up feeling badly in some way, or the thing that made me happy is going to not be there anymore. It's going to be removed somehow. It's going to get thrown away when I wasn't looking. Someone is going to discard it. Someone's going to take it away. or someone's going to trigger me to feel something else. If it's an emotion that I'm feeling and it's a positive one, someone is going to trigger me to feel something else. And a lot of it does have to do with other people, even more so than yourself. Someone else is going to take this away somehow. And it feels like it's coming, it feels like it's about you sometimes, because it's your own stuff and your own fears and everything. But it's like it really is going back to what other people are going to do. And it's like, if I put this out, if I am myself, then they're going to attack that, or they're not going to see that in a positive way, or in the best way, or the right light, in a sense. So then they're going to take that away, or they're going to attempt to take that away, and they probably will succeed. So those are the beliefs that are there. I'm not saying they're going to succeed or that they probably will succeed. I'm just saying what the belief almost feels like, what's there. But because this stuff is around you, it can almost feel like you are causing it sometimes, or it's even like about you in some way. And obviously it is this stuff around you ultimately that's causing it. But it's like it was triggered by you doing something in a past life, in different lifetimes, where you felt empowered, and you felt like it was taken away in some way. You felt like you were attacked. You felt helpless. You felt like you couldn't do anything. It was going to be taken away from you, or it was taken away from you. Like, even if you tried to do something, even if you tried to do something to change people's minds, maybe, or some action just to cause your situation to be different. It can be different things depending on the lifetime. The options that you would go for, or even the options that might be available to you according to different situations and different people as well that you're dealing with. So different energies that are coming towards you from different types of people, and also different types of situations, and how the people might respond or how the situation might respond. It almost feels like the situation is almost this living thing in a way, like the situation has some kind of control, like almost like the situation decides its outcome. That obviously isn't accurate at all, but there's that feeling there, that charged emotion, where it just feels kind of helpless. It feels like you're a victim to the situation, and the situation almost has this charge of its own, where it's just going to do whatever it ends up doing, or whatever it feels to do in the moment. And it feels like you are, in a sense, out of the moment, like you aren't really deciding those things, and they're just there. Or maybe even like you're deciding something else, but it feels like something that you don't want kind of just takes this momentum and just forms. Here we go again with the mother. A lot of this is going back to the mother, the adopted mother. or adoptive mother. Um, and cords to her. It feels like even in this lifetime there was that sense of her being able to take something, like take away a feeling of being empowered. There's almost that feeling there, where it feels like you can't trust yourself around her, um, almost like you're not safe, where you can just be vulnerable. But it feels like that's going back to something else. It's going back to something harsher, it feels like. Not just a little bit more surface, but something that was much more obvious, much more apparent to you, where you can really pinpoint what the person is behaving like or what they're going to do. Like, for instance, if somebody murders you in a past lifetime, right, as opposed to now in this lifetime, they're giving you an attitude, right? Not that she murdered you in a past lifetime. I don't exactly feel like she murdered you in a past lifetime. Um, but there is something much harsher there than just the energies that were coming towards you in this lifetime. It feels like there's a lot more history there that almost shows why in this lifetime there's all these feelings there without as much apparent cause, in a sense. Like, you can put some things there. You can say that certain things may be the cause, but at the same time, there's still this kind of feeling like they don't completely make sense, or they don't totally fall in line, like with your intuition, almost like it still doesn't quite feel right in a sense. It feels like there's something else back there that you're just not remembering on a really conscious level, but it's back there. And I feel like it could easily come through, but for some reason, they're not saying specifically what she did right now. I don't know if later they will. I don't know what the reason is for that. Obviously, I can only say what they come through with, and obviously, they know what they should be coming through with when. Um, but what they are saying is that there's something much harsher there and much more kind of devious in a sense that she did. And it feels like one lifetime in particular. But I still feel like there's been more than one lifetime with this person, for sure. There's some lifetimes with the biological mother, too. I don't know that they're that... I feel like part of the reason that you came through the real mother, but then you ended up going to the adoptive mother instead. It feels like there's just a lot more lessons karmically that kind of need to be fixed in a sense with the adoptive mother. The real mother, there's some history there, but for one, it doesn't feel like there's as much. And two, it just doesn't feel like there's as many harsh things or as many karmic lessons. Even in this lifetime, there's a feeling from your guides like her intention wasn't really negative. Her intention wasn't negative towards you, really. It doesn't feel like. And it just doesn't feel like there's a lot of really, really substantial, like negative energies coming from there. There are some chords there, but it's like they don't bring up the same amount of fear and anxiety. That's so distracting. Your picture is doing something so weird. Like it's done that like multiple times now. Like I'll turn away, but I can still see it out of my peripheral, and it's clearly your face, and then all of a sudden it's changing into this old woman. I'm not really sure what that is, but that keeps happening over and over. And it doesn't really feel like a thought form. It feels like somebody that you were. So this is like some kind of past life reference in a sense that I'm seeing. Like almost like morphing on your face. This keeps happening. So one thing is it feels like these past lifetimes are becoming more surfaced. Like they're ready to they're ready to be resolved. Okay, I'm gonna go into question 3 here a little bit where you're asking about this dream. Okay, so anything really that ever presents itself in a way like you're describing, like there's a ring or there's a hook, a lot of thought forms I've seen personally, they will have something like that. It's indicating that they are attached to you in some way. Now, when it's something to do with your mouth here in some way, especially with the stuff that you have, then this is like a feeling like you can't communicate or you can't express or you can't be who you are in front of others. And then this is odd because even, or not odd, not at all. It's going along with this exact thing though, because then you're speaking here about in the dream, you're watching some YouTuber and they're talking about all this spiritual stuff, and then somebody else is criticizing them and they're playing pop music. So it's like somebody who is more not spiritual, you could say. A lot of times I use the word normal. But I know obviously for us, you know, in the way that we are, we feel normal, obviously being who we are. But that's kind of how a lot of people see it. But in some ways, to me, obviously, they're more abnormal. But in other words, a regular person not really into spiritual stuff. And they're criticizing this other person who seems different. But to me, that's like a huge compliment to be abnormal or to be very different. But this is going along with this exact thing. Like they're already showing you through the stream what this is. If you're listening to a YouTuber, they're talking about spiritual stuff and someone else is criticizing them, and then you're seeing this thing in your mouth. Okay, so this is clearly saying, if I put myself out in this way, if I talk about this specific stuff, if I am myself in this way, someone is going to attack me for it in some way. That's literally what all of these thought forms are going back to. Just again and again, when I pick up on them, way before this dream that you're describing, that's always been the theme here. It's been you having some psychic ability, you are attacked for it, you speaking about spiritual stuff, you are attacked for it, or just you're being yourself, whether it's about spirituality or not, you're being yourself, and feeling empowered, and you are attacked for it. But this goes beyond that, like they were saying, even to I feel happy, I'm going to feel the opposite. I have something that I value in some way, it's going to be taken away from me. So it's kind of moved into other things as well. I feel like it started out as just something spiritual, but now it can be about anything, really. Now it can be about anything, because this stuff has just gained like more energy. So I feel like before your guides can go in and they can explain different things, or give you advice about certain things, like question 1, question 2, I really feel like part of it has to be knowing more about where things come from, and having more understanding. And then I also feel like some of it's going to come to you on its own versus all through the readings, because you are receiving a lot from your guides. Even this dream, the dreams that you get, it's such an obvious, clear communication from your guides. Like they're basically trying to say what the theme of this stuff is. Even though it's already come through in some of the readings, still, this is an extremely clear way that it's being presented to you here in this dream. So already they're speaking to you and coming through with certain things. So I feel like some things are going to come to you as well on your own. But for now, with this reading, I feel like what they're wanting to do is they're wanting to present you almost with more facts. You understand more the root of things, and then you're going to be able to decrease certain things more. I feel like you could even go through this reading more than one time, and I feel like you would get more out of it. Maybe even some of the other readings, but I feel like specifically this reading, I feel like there might be some hidden things there where you might get more if you went back through it a few times. Okay, but that is all that your guides have to say for this reading. So thank you very much for another one. I truly hope it benefits you. As always, namaste.